Stephanie is kidnapped.
Abigail Klein leaves Days of Our Lives with no return date set. Salem has weathered storms, secrets, and scandals for decades, but nothing could have prepared viewers for the chilling twist that unfolded this week. In a storyline that left fans stunned and social media buzzing, Stephanie Johnson's life takes a terrifying turn, culminating in a shocking kidnapping that appears to mark Abigail Klein's sudden exit from Days of Our Lives, with no return date set. As familiar faces scramble for answers and old enemies resurface from the shadows, one question echoes through Salem and beyond.
Is this really goodbye for Stephanie Johnson?
At first, everything seemed deceptively normal. Stephanie Johnson had finally found her footing back in Salem. After years away, rebuilding her life hadn't been easy, but she was doing it, slowly, carefully, and with guarded optimism. Her career was stabilizing, her friendships were deepening, and her complicated romantic ties were once again pulling her into Salem's emotional orbit. But longtime fans know Salem well enough to recognize the warning signs.
Stephanie had been uneasy for weeks.
Small things, unanswered calls, the sense of being watched, a strange car parked near her apartment more than once. She brushed it off as stress, telling herself she was imagining things. After everything she'd been through, paranoia felt like an old habit she needed to break. Unfortunately, her instincts were right all along. The kidnapping didn't happen with blaring alarms or dramatic explosions. Instead, it unfolded in the quietest, most horrifying way possible. Stephanie had stayed late at work, wrapping up a project she was determined to finish before leaving town for a short trip. The office was nearly empty when she finally shut down her computer and grabbed her bag. As she stepped into the parking garage, her phone buzzed, a message from someone she trusted.
"Can we talk?"
"It's important."
That was all it took.
Stephanie never saw the shadow move behind her. She never heard the footsteps until it was too late. One moment she was checking her phone, the next she was pulled backward, a hand clamped over her mouth as the world spun into darkness. Her phone hit the concrete floor, the screen shattering, Salem's first silent clue that something was terribly wrong.
By morning, panic spread quickly. Stephanie missed a meeting. Then another. Her phone went straight to voicemail.
When no one could reach her by noon, concern turned to fear. Chad, Alex, Kayla, and Steve all sensed it at the same time. This wasn't like Stephanie.
Kayla Johnson felt it in her bones.
As a doctor, she delivered heartbreaking news countless times, but nothing prepared her for the dread crawling up her spine as she stared at Stephanie's unanswered messages. A mother always knows when something is wrong, and Kayla knew, without proof, without logic, that her daughter was in danger.
Steve Johnson went into action immediately. No police protocol. No waiting. Just instinct.
As Steve began digging, a disturbing pattern emerged. Stephanie's recent projects had put her dangerously close to uncovering information that someone desperately wanted buried.
Financial records. Corporate secrets.
A trail leading to a powerful figure with ties far beyond Salem.
This wasn't a random crime. This was planned.
Meanwhile, Stephanie woke up in a cold, unfamiliar room.
Her head throbbed. Her wrists were bound.
The air smelled of dust and metal. Panic surged, but Stephanie Johnson had survived worse. Her captor didn't speak much at first. When they finally did, their words sent a chill through her soul. "You weren't supposed to figure it out." Stephanie realized then that her life wasn't just in danger, it was expendable. Back in Salem, the emotional fallout was devastating. Alex blamed himself for not walking her to her car. Chad was haunted by the feeling that he should have pushed harder to protect her. Kayla oscillated between professional composure and maternal terror.
Steve grew more dangerous with every passing hour.
And then the unthinkable happened.
A message arrived. Not a ransom demand. Not a threat. A goodbye.
It was brief.
Carefully worded. Almost too calm.
"I'm safe.
I need time.
Please don't look for me." No one believed it. Stephanie Johnson would never walk away without a fight, and she would never abandon her family without answers. What Salem didn't know was that Stephanie had been given an impossible ultimatum. Leave Salem forever, or risk everyone she loved. Her captor made it clear, escape attempts would have consequences. People she cared about would pay the price. Stephanie was strong, but she wasn't reckless. If disappearing was the only way to keep her family safe, she would do it.
And so she made the hardest decision of her life. She agreed to leave.
Not as a victim, but as a survivor. In her final scenes, Stephanie was released far from Salem, shaken but alive. She stood at a bus station with nothing but a small bag, tears streaming down her face as she looked at her phone one last time.
Dozens of unread messages.
Missed calls. Voicemails filled with love, fear, and desperation. She typed one final message, to no one and everyone. I love you all. Please forgive me. Then she turned off her phone and walked away.
The screen faded to black.
Behind the scenes, the shock was just as intense. Abigail Klein's departure from Days of Our Lives is being described as open-ended, with no confirmed return date. Sources suggest the door is intentionally left open, but for now, Stephanie Johnson is gone. Whether this exit marks a long hiatus or something more permanent remains unclear. Soap history tells us that no goodbye is ever truly final, but this one feels different.
It feels heavier, colder, unfinished.
Stephanie's kidnapping has far-reaching consequences. Steve Johnson is now obsessed with uncovering the truth, no matter the cost. Kayla is left grieving a loss without closure. Old enemies may resurface as secrets unravel. Salem is reminded once again that safety is always an illusion. And somewhere out there, Stephanie Johnson is rebuilding her life in the shadows, watching, waiting, and carrying the weight of a sacrifice no one knows she made. In Salem, death is rarely permanent, and goodbyes are often temporary. But until Stephanie returns, if she returns, her absence will be felt in every corner of the town. Fans are left with hope and heartbreak. Because in Days of Our Lives, the most powerful stories aren't about explosions or villains. They are about love strong enough to walk away.